Welcome to the evening edition of the news on Canal International, the last for this week. Once again, our immense gratitude for the privilege of your company. First things first, though, the headlines. Lawyers defending detained militants of the Cameroon Renaissance movement in Yaoundé are venting frustration and crying foul over what they suspect is a calculated tactic by the prosecution to hem their clients behind bars for an undetermined length of time. They voiced the concerns following a second adjournment of hearings on the case. Are you one of those parents who unilaterally impose career options on their children? If you are, then you may well be an obstruction to the educational evolution of your own offspring, according to orientation and counseling experts. And as the countdown to the 2022 World Cup in Qatar begins to narrow fast, Hyacinth Chia introduces us to the official attire to be worn to the tourney by members of the Cameroonian delegation, including players of the national team, the Indomitable Lions. Those were headlines. Developments up next. Now we start out in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, where the ongoing trial of detained militants of the Cameroon Renaissance movement has been adjourned for a second time. Crying foul, defense lawyers claim it is a calculated plot by the prosecution to hem their clients behind bars for an undetermined period of time. Hyacinth Chia reports.
They appeared at the Central Regional Court of Appeal this October 20th for the second time, but the hearings of the 39 detainees of the Cameroon Renaissance movement is yet to actually begin. The defense lawyers decry a mechanism of manipulation to deprive their clients of fair justice.
Nous pensons en réalité que
in reality, the process has been shattered from the base. It has been organized and structured in a way that the accused will never have right to equitable justice, just like it unfolded at the military tribunal. Today, we are faced with serious problems of the law. They underline a number of irregularities in the process, not in accordance neither with the laws of the court nor with the international norms. When the general penal law is being applied on civilians, as it is the case now, no army official should intervene in the judgment. That is what the Cameroon Supreme Court says. The international law is equally against the judgment of civilians by the military. But we have a military colonel sitting in court as one of the judges. We have complaints about that as a problem, but the court says he will judge. Let's move on then.
La Cour nous a répondu qu'il doit juger. Bon, on y va.
After the examination of the case files, the proceedings have been once again adjourned to November 17, 2022.
Now let's crisscross the country back to Douala, where residents of the Ndogbong neighborhood are at wit's end. Municipal authorities have recently served an eviction orders over fears their lives could come in harm's way over the possibility of landslides in that neighborhood. The concerned dwellers have since been taken to the streets, pleading for the authorities to accord them humanitarian assistance as well as fresh grounds for resettlement. Sharifa Saleh.
The city council has ordered them to pack out the vicinity with immediate effect. It says threats of eventual landslides are looming.
For manage with my own tango, where they feed my picking them. So the same way I go. But if life got there with me, no problem.
And this is the area under concern. 31 houses have been marked for demolition and the occupants are panic-stricken. We are about 300 meters far away from the affected zone. We have no landslide problem here. The only site witnessing the threats is over there. My main problem is that they should help us out with something that will permit us settle elsewhere. Some have opted to begin tearing down their homes for fear of losing property when the D-Day comes. We have begun with the demolition process ourselves because we fear losing property when the caterpillars will come to put everything down their own way. Elsewhere, others, like this woman, are simply confused, wondering what next to do, where else to go. All my tenants have moved out due to fear. I have no other source of income. The future clearly appears very bleak for these men, women and children, some whom have lived here since the early 80s.
Now, as Cameroonians continue searching the nooks and crannies for cooking gas, there are progressive signals of a timid return to normal supplies. According to the Minister of Trade, cooking gas is gradually reappearing across sales points countrywide. Luc Magloire Atangana made the declaration this afternoon in Yaoundé as he visited some of the sales points. Hyacinth Chia once again.
The control mission of the Ministry of Trade in Yaoundé Market this Friday, moving from one sales point to another, and a stop at the Cameroon Petroleum Depot Company to take stock of the realities and evaluate the progressive return of the basic need.
Concerning
domestic gas, we have gone round and we can tell the population that everything is getting back to normal. People must not panic. Cooking gas will be available in all sales points. All the different types will be in the market soon. The situation gradually getting back to normalcy, as confirmed here by this gas dealer, with proofs of hundreds of bottles loaded with the substance. The situation here is getting back to normal. At the moment, we are able to satisfy our clients. The agents of the Trade Ministry were equally out to sound warnings to unscrupulous business operators who are taking advantage of the situation to increase prices of basic needs like rice. Consumers called upon to denounce such commercial agents who fictitiously change prices of commodities fixed by the state through the toll-free number 1502.
Now, providing accurate counseling and orientation for students remains a fundamental instrument in shaping their choices of courses for future careers. In Cameroon, the government is opting for online guidance of the same students, an option Maureen says in the following report could bear several limitations, especially in the hinterlands. Her account.
As it guides students from the word go, it paves the way. 20 years after, the role of guidance counseling is still very much questioned. Is digitalizing the sector a priority at a time when a lot of students and parents, especially those in rural areas, can afford smartphones, internet, and a lot more?
And the practicality is there already. Like for now, it is on telephone. Remember, we have been operational for the past. This digitalization is not beginning today. It is the e-counseling that is beginning today. But in the Ministry of Secondary Education, we have distance learning, and it has been operational since the advent of COVID-19. So this is just an additional on the other ones. So it is practicable, it is practical already.
Those who can use it now, you know, things are moving, things are evolving. So we think by next year's, that helpline may be what we are expecting now. But for the moment, we can use what we have. You
will not expect us to buy phones and give to parents or to students. What we are doing is to facilitate everything. We'll do everything possible at our own level to facilitate the other side of it, and that's why we're sensitizing. That's why this day has been organized to sensitize, so that parents should, or all the education holders, to do as much as possible to provide the facilities for the operationalization of this technique.
In a ceremony at Government High School Yag in Douala, October 21, to commemorate the National Guidance Counseling Day, the keynote address reminded students how they should build confidence around guidance counselors. Guidance counselors were equally described as a sustainable tool for the development of every society.
And we stay on the same beat to let you know that if you're one of those parents who impose career options on their children without consulting qualified orientation experts, then know that you may become an obstruction to their educational evolution. Now, commemorating the National Day for Orientation and Guidance this October 21 in Douala, experts warn that such unilateral decisions taken by parents could simply jeopardize the education of their children. D. Maureen once again.
The guidance counseling services set up in schools are like elderly persons who must be listened to in the family. Unfortunately, parents identified as a major hindrance as they still impose on their children what career they must embrace.
Some parents always want to make their dream come true through their children. Sometimes dreams that they had as far as career is concerned, which failed, they will now want it to come through their parents, their children.
Whatever the parents' career orientation, guidance counselors still intervene by simply change tactics by sensitizing the students.
By the time you give the parents the information that is required, that they don't have, because sometimes they do that out of ignorance. So by the time the counselor gives them the information that they have, sometimes they are convinced and they go ahead to make use of our advice.
We have e-commerce, we have marketing digital, we have e-entrepreneurial. Donc we have some some professionals who help the children to build your future, to build your skill.
Career orientation. Counselors emphasize on the path to take at the tender stage. At this level, children are imposed a particular rhythm that guides them towards success and a brighter future.
Now, proponents of effective bilingualism across Cameroon have recommended the putting in place of translation units across parts of the English-speaking northwest region of the country. They reiterated their advocacy, in the course of meetings with a delegation that's been visiting Bamenda since the start of the week. They come from the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism. They spoke to Stephanie Chin through the ears and eyes of our Bamenda correspondent, Annie Collins.
Since the creation of National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism in 2017, there has been some shifts in paradigm as seen on official billboards in Bamenda with messages in English and French in equal characters as enshrined in the Cameroon Constitution. A delegation from the Bilingualism Commission has just wrapped up a 5-day evaluation visit to Bamenda.
We have come here to get recommendations from all of you, from the councils. What is their take on bilingualism and how will they help in the fight against hate speech and xenophobia?
The visiting commission members have met with respective cross-sections of regional delegates and local elected officials, some of whom mimicked some sentences in French for the sake of bilingualism. As concerns xenophobia and hate language, the visiting delegation members were not complacent. Barrister Nico Halle has established a platform in a bid to create a link between bilingualism and moral decadence.
For us to succeed in fighting hate speech and xenophobia at all the echelons, we need to place the platform of core moral and spiritual values.
Both organizers and participants are expectant that governments will also decentralize bilingualism by creating translation units at regional level.
At 33 minutes past the hour, let's hop over across the border next door into Nigeria, where recurrent floods have left over 600 people dead and displaced some 1.3 million others. Now, the country's disaster management agency warns that fears of food insecurity are rising and rising sharply if the heavy downpours continue. Stephanie Chin once again.
Nigeria's Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Sadiya Umar Farouk, at a media briefing on Sunday, revealed that the heavy floods in Nigeria have killed at least 603 people and displaced over 1.3 million civilians since September. The deluge injured more than 2,400 people and partially or completely destroyed over 200,000 homes. Over 108,000 hectares of farmland damaged, plus 332,000 hectares of roads and infrastructure damaged.
I feel very bad, but there's nothing I can do. I farm a lot of farm. I spend a lot of money for this farm. I spend money no less than 600,000 above.
Minister Farouk called on southern coastal states to evacuate people living in vulnerable areas. New York Times reports that climate change and intense rainfall are huge contributors to the disaster, and in September, a dam in Cameroon, which borders Nigeria to the east, released excess water with no dam in Nigeria to contain the overflow, even though the two countries agreed in the 1980s that one should be built. The floods are Nigeria's worst since 2012 due to rapid urban growth and poor planning. Flooding remains recurrent in most parts of Nigeria. Armed violence in Nigeria has already displaced over 3 million people, according to the Associated Press, and the floods have only led to an upward rate of displacement.
Now, as the countdown fast narrows to the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, the qualified nations are stepping up preparations both on and off the pitch. Amongst them, of course, is Cameroon, where the attires to be donned by the official delegation from the country, including players of the national team, the Indomitable Lions, have been presented to the public. Chia Hyacinth once again in Yaoundé.
This is the official attire of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon and the delegation ahead of the 2022 Qatar World Cup. The outfits in different colors, like blue and white, and in different models, with the green, red, and yellow colors of Cameroon visibly on it. The output of this Cameroonian, the El Dabo fashion. Through this dress, object of our partnership with Feka Food, we shall participate and accompany the Indomitable Lions in their mission of fighting spirit and performance that permits them to go as far as possible in the World Cup FIFA Qatar 2022.
FIFA Qatar 2022.
The beautiful regalia unveiled here this October 20th by the President of the Cameroon Football Federation, Samuel Eto'o, alongside the head coach of the Indomitable Lions, Rigobert Sambahana. Eto'o Samuel explains the reason behind the choice. The Cameroon Football Federation, in her projects, has always thought of advancing Cameroon and Cameroonians. It is in this vision that we have given the opportunity to these brave Cameroonians to dress the Lions. We have to prove that youths are capable of assisting, and capable of taking decisions that at times appear hard, but good decisions for the majority. It was also an occasion for the Feka footballs to reiterate the commitment of the entire Cameroonian delegation to breach the odds in the World Cup Jamboree.
Sincere thanks for your company all throughout this week, and we'll be back here the same time on Monday for another week of news on Canal International. Up next is the debrief with Mark Chuamo, and at 1950, Alain Ghislain Kanga comes back here with more news in French. If you missed out on any programs on Canal International, head up to our websites and you can catch up. Thanks once again, and see you next week.